Welcome back to Friday Night Football. The Swans in complete control here, leading by 52 points. Jude, we saw Reid leave the ground in the third quarter. You kept an eye on him during that third quarter time break. What did you notice?
Yeah, he had ice on the right, outside of his right knee, and he's just kept that ice on the entire time. They've just handed him the red vest, so Craig Bird will come on now.
Talking about Gary Rohan too, a magnificent third quarter from him. 9 possessions, more than any other player on the ground. He's been a long time in the making. He had a terrible injury at one stage there as well, but never doubting his talent.
Oh, he was a top 10 draft pick. He's an elite talent, elite sprint. We know that. But I think first and foremost, he's defending well as well. So he's running at about 94% disposal effectiveness.
Boys, back to you.
And it was against North Melbourne that his career nearly finished, Gary Rohan, wasn't it? At the SCG with the broken leg and the tackle with Lindsay Thomas. Yet we were. Great effort tonight.
Wet, slippery day. Changed the rules, it did.
Yep.
95 plays 43. And Sydney appear destined for another grand final. Mike Pike. And Goldstein has been terrific throughout the finals. He's a warrior. Outnumbered tonight, generally the case. It would seem impossible.
Straight back.
But then I guess their run home may have seemed that way too. Finished the season in wonderful form. Bad bounce. Back to umpire Pennell. He'll throw it up this time. Pike and Goldstein on the way down. Goldstein, Parker couldn't control it. Wide at the pack, McGlynn taken down immediately.
Straight up.
Well, it looks like he's going to get through this game unscathed. That in itself is a big story given his history. Tossed up again, Pike and Goldstein. Goldstein cleverly. Cunnington sends it down towards half forward. Shaw with courage went back. Falling over Bird. Thomas to Ackley. Ackley lines up and fires, and I think it's good. Nice goal.
Substitute alert, Sydney.
Well, Ackley generally provides run out of defence or from the wing, and tonight you've got to say it hasn't been forthcoming, or not too often, but that time his 12th possession was a good one.
Been a lot of talk about Atlee moving up through the middle of the ground, Tom. We know he gives a lot of run off the halfback flank, but that speed through the middle of the ground I think would be invaluable, and maybe that's what he works on over the summer.
He's an improving player, Atlee, and Greenwood on screen there, right. They're the players that need to really take their game to the next level if North Melbourne to progress through past a preliminary final.
Not the first time number 18's kicked a goal in a final for North. Zeeple held up. Kennedy.
And he's back, Sydney.
So Bird will want to get down and dirty in the last quarter and make a mark. Now Chesky, Tippett's had a big night. Goods. Generally clever with the ball, belting forward. Franklin did well, did very well. Brilliant give. Jack spinning, turning. McVeigh hooking back. Zeeble possibly could have marked. Thomas in the back half. Back to D'Alessandro, back to Frito, back to D'Alessandro. Cut off by Malcheski. Atlee out. This is Sydney at its best. McGlynn. Franklin still buddy with some time. Back to Shaw, switches play, danger, Rampy could open up though, Hanbury off a step, good sits and waits, Zeeble well done, now with Kennedy from the pocket, hooking back to full forward, bouncing full, Jack puts the pressure on, rush through, Sydney with all that pressure, get a point.
Under pressure.
They certainly were. Josie stuffed that umpire.
He could have handballed it through uncontested, and the umpire could have said under pressure, I reckon.
It's a state of mind. Cunnington, short to right. Parker comes across his path and takes the mark. Luke Parker.
Luke! Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
As we said earlier, sub in their last premiership team, and still just 21. What a season he's had. What a future he's got. Right full forward pocket. Kick is on the way to narrow, and he misses. It adds to the lead. 97 plays 49.
He's moved up the pecking order a bit, Parker, hasn't he? I mean, they're just so deep through the midfield. It matters not. They all do their role and their job, but he's certainly one of the great young players in the competition. Thomas to Ferrito. Ferrito to half forward. Brown, good contest there with Grundy. So reliable, Grundy. Cunnington was terrific. Gibson flicks it out wide. Swallow has to sit and wait. Did well. Then the left foot kick to the centre half forward area. Cut off by Rampy. Cunningham, Rampy. That was terrific. And Rampy with some real bounce. And then Franklin on a lead. Got it again, buddy. Grundy just maybe there with that battle with Brown.
Stuck his leg. He's got to kick it off the ground, but then
it's a dangerous sort of play. I mean,
a little.
Got it.
A couple of rookies involved there. Cunningham and Rampy.
Because Franklin's had a massive night. All the score assists, all the inside 50s, all the goals. 4 of them now. So just a little concern there. Reed off the ground. And I guess we might chat about this in a minute, Lee. I mean, this is sort of the thing that now you're starting to think about, aren't you, in the next 20 minutes?
You count it down. There's 16 minutes to go. The margin's about 54 points. Even I was pessimistic, coach. I wouldn't have thought we've got the game won yet, but you probably have.
Lee, we just saw the Grundy. We know Reed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're John Longmire now, what are you starting to think about? I mean, the obvious.
Mercy rule, to be honest. You'd like to blow the siren now. The Swans have got nothing else to gain now, and you hope you just don't get an injury in this last 15 minutes of the game.
Goldstein hooks it down behind. Greenwood sends a high ball towards half forward. It eludes Petrie. It's helped forward by Bastanak. Pace going back. Turner worked off the line of the football though by Smith. Smith dives after the footy. Petrie, look away, hand pass Bastanak on a very sharp angle, and Richards steps back across the line and concedes it behind. Turner is very feisty. Interesting, that last goal for Buddy gives him 53 goals in finals, which equals Dermott. You were making the comparison before, Lee. Well, no surnames required.
Did you ride motorbikes, Dermott? Rode motorbikes about 30 years ago.
McVeigh. Kennedy. Good mark. He's set the scene very early tonight. Had half a dozen handballs within about 5 minutes of the match starting in close. Wayne, I might get from you in a moment. Lee talked about the coach, the mercy rule. I'm wondering what the players are thinking right now from both teams.
Thank you.
So, Smith wide and Bird.
Look, I think obviously if you're a Sydney player right now, you start to think about next week. You start to think about the big week coming up, what you're going to do, how you're going to prepare, all of those things, a little bit of self-preservation. And if you're a Kangaroo player, in all honesty, Bruce, you're thinking about what you're going to do tonight. It's about getting together, console one another, and make some plans in your head where you're going.
Greenwood is on. Del Santo. Nothing unusual for me to bed. Ferrito sends it wide. Atley. There goes the kick from McDonald. Long down towards full forward. Going back is McVeigh. Outmarked by a bigger man. Petrie juggles it in the square. That's important.
Just here. Thanks.
He's kicked one.
Thanks, Drew.
And this to put under 50 points.
Yeah, he's on it.
All, of course, is academic. Drew Petrie. 4 goals last week. Pops through his second. I think Wayne made the point earlier, too little too late from Drew. Had his chances early in the game and didn't put them through, and now it really has no impact on the match.
Well, that's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing is actually to get the ball and get shots at goal as a big forward, and I think he did that early. Just wasn't able to convert at the important stages.
He could have had 4, couldn't he?
Yeah,
he's got 2, could have had 4.
That's right back here.
So he's up to 49 goals for the season, Petrie. So it's been very consistent over the last 4 years. That's been close to his average. He's had a 48, a 58, a 48, now 49 in the last 4. So North, just a dribble here and there. Cunningham's been terrific. Malcheski, no signs of that problem with the hamstring. Goods, presented well, Siebel, strong tackle from Bird. Malcheski off a step, got a hard one from Thomas, kicks to full forward, and Thompson to Atley, and then Atley to Harvey. Not much from Boomer tonight, got a goal in that third quarter. Wells reasonably subdued as well. And searching kick, and Petrie on the end of that.
Wonder what Joel Selwood is thinking. Gave up a night of his life as the ball goes down towards the pocket. The mark is taken by Rampy. Comes across the ground. McVeigh in the back pocket. On the move. Cunningham loved his game. He's the reason Boomer has been quiet tonight. And before him, Stephen Hill, a couple of weeks back.
Really powerful runner, Dennis. He just looks very economical the way he covers the ground. Obviously a fantastic work rate.
Speed is annoying, isn't it? Guys that stick with you and run away from you. Parker again, strong mark. Goes to Kennedy. Kennedy going for distance. It gets there in time. Going back, nothing Wells could do about that. A forlorn jump in the air. Didn't touch the footy. And Buddy, a chance to pop another goal through. That's a big hit. Malcheski exposed because of his left foot there. He's opened right up, and Thomas took advantage. Speaking of left footers, Buddy to go past Dermott. See? Those 23 stick together.
It's hard to imagine a big forward having a bigger match. I mean, when you look at the numbers and what he's done.
It's the perfect game as a key position player. More than 20 possessions, 5 goals, numerous goal assists. He's done absolutely everything tonight. And I think tonight, I know we've said it all year, but he has marked the ball better tonight than he has actually marked all year. And he's been pretty good. So it looks very good for him next week.
Third time he's kicked at least 5 in a final, but he hasn't done it since 2008. He got an 8 and a 7, of course, that famous elimination final against the Crows. So 6 years ago, well, since he's kicked 5 in a final.
Head was down, Sydney. Hold there.
God, the build up to him next week at the MCG, whoever he plays, but particularly if it's the brown and gold. Rowan forward takes the mark.
This has been the real, I was going to say surprise, but the real positive for the Swans. Gary Rowan, it's the best game I've seen him play. He's presented himself physically on the contest. He's ran the ball exceptionally well from half back. He'll be very pivotal next week.
Played the first 4 games this year and the last 9. So had a massive impact tonight. That one not quite getting there.
All clear.
Don't think he needed the long run up. He went back about 40 metres then.
Keep going, Lance.
Just to back up what Lee said, Bruce, you'd take Buddy off now. I think, you know, with what have we got, 11 and a half minutes to go, I don't think there's anything to prove. He's best on ground as far as I'm concerned.
That's the problem, though. When you're with the rotations, if you take one player off, it just puts more load on the other. Well, now 20, because they've already actually done their substitute. You'd like to do it, but the players are now used to coming on and off the ground, so it's hard to take one off voluntarily.
Malcheski to Parker, dropped in his lap.
Hey, Duck, I don't reckon you'd get him off right now. I reckon he's sniffing another 3 or 4 before this game's over.
So Parker, sharp angle, but it will open up for him.
That's it, there. Okay.
He's booted 2.
Please, Lance.
So impressed with his game. And one of the marks of the season.
That's fine. That'll do. Yeah.
Before half-time. He really is a Spring Hill Jack. And he comes. It's on the way. Oh, that's class. He's got 3 goals. We talk about quality. An emerging star at ANZ Stadium.
I tell you what, if you're doing the votes, he might be number 2 to Franklin tonight, Parker.
Yeah, been outstanding. I mean, there's just the elevation of him in his ranking as a player. Well, this year, really. I mean, he's probably been a good player gradually on the up, but he's really reached the elite level this season.
Just to sum up what you said, Tom, I think an 18-possession goal by Rowan. I think it's the best 18-possession game I've seen from a player, certainly from a half-back flanker.
Rucks in.
So Parker, do you think the Swans would have a a choice of a preference out of the Power or the Hawks?
Look, I think it's the grand final. You're going to play an exceptional side. No, I don't think so, Bruce.
Purely for the theatre, and I live in Adelaide and I shouldn't say it, but there's something about Franklin versus Hawthorn in the grand final, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So Jacobs to Rowan. Duck just saying it's the best 18 disposal game he's seen from a half-back flanker. Well, make it 19. Thompson. Good tackle, Kennedy. Kick off the ground from Harvey, marked by Del Santo. Held up. Has to win it back and gets it to McDonald. Fine first-year player.
Close the eyes. Inside the 50. Petrie got a hand to it. Falls obligingly for Richards. McVeigh backs out of trouble. Neatly done and a brilliant kick. Here's Rowan again. Draws a man. Parker running inside the forward 50 unchecked. Goes to McGlynn and McGlynn goes to Goods.
It's a raffle, isn't it? There's a lot of Swans forwards then that were usable.
Yeah.
I think with Parker, I mean, he was unlucky to miss the All-Australian side. If he was playing for another side, he may have stood out more, he may have got in it, but he just complements Kennedy, Jack, Hanbury, McVeigh so well.
So Goods, right behind him, kick is on the way, and it's good. He's got 3. And I suppose in a weird way there's some consolation for Ryan O'Keefe. What a good player he has been over the trip. Still wants to find a new club next season, but players like Cunningham and Parker taking his spot. It would have helped their development, I'm sure. And you can take some solace from the fact that they're keeping him out. It takes a good player to keep Ryan O'Keefe out of a team.
For sure, Dan. It's the biggest score against the Kangaroos all year. This is close to the biggest win Sydney's ever had in a final. In fact, it might be there now. We'll just check that. But Goods, Tippett and Franklin, 11 goals between the big three, eh? And a terrific return. So Sydney not marching to a grand final, charging to a grand final here. So Pike went early, Brown, Kennedy yet again, and then McGlynn to centre half forward. Giatley bravely there takes the mark.
Go through. Okay, high tap. Free kick, it's high.
It's a good test for North Melbourne. They're a young, developing side, but really just can't be satisfied with the preliminary final. This result's going to really burn.
White's kick at Pike going back and coming up was Petrie who collected him. Pike's okay.
Melbourne's got that. Thank you. Thanks, Kane.
Okay, a relative term. Watch this.
Back here.
Knocked out of there by Del Santo. McVeigh hits it the other way. Bird hard against the boundary line. Tippett low down. That's a good mark. Well done. The longer it's gone, the better he's got. Thought about giving to Kennedy, who was cruising past, but decided against it. No real need now. They can just play this game out at their own tempo. Ball inside the forward 50. Goods a hand to it, suggesting he was hung on to. Sliding in is Kennedy. He's dragged out of it there, Kennedy, by Ferrito. And I think Kennedy might get a free kick, will he?
Dives on the ball, dragged it in.
Well, it's holding the ball.
You've got possession, so you've dived on it.
I thought for a moment he was paying a very brave free kick to Kennedy, who didn't have the ball really and is just dragged out of the contest.
It's a good explanation for the umpire. Sam Wright's arguing that he didn't have the ball. So we've got it now.
I don't know whether he dragged it in, but he fell on it, I guess.
Well, Josh Kennedy started brilliantly. He's got that Ray Donovan stubble going on.
15 gone.
Just a terrific player. And another who'll line up against, well, if it's Hawthorn next week, some old mates. Hawthorn to play Port tomorrow. That should be a beauty. Kennedy hangs it out to the left and it's a minor score.
And I wonder who his grandfather will bury it for, Lee, next week.
Well, no,
the famous
John Kennedy Sr., Josh's grandfather, said when they played Hawthorn 2 years ago, he was burying it for Hawthorn, even though he was burying it for Josh.
No, he said the same
as an individual.
Only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Happy if Josh takes home the Norm Smith medal.
He's a real club man, isn't it?
He's a real club man.
Grimer, Swallow. Brown, Lilly. It's a good final series, Brown. Gibson. And a boundary throw. And so it's that sort of moment to reflect on North, isn't it? There's so much anticipation about the next week for Sydney, but for North, it's all but over.
And it's been a successful season for North Melbourne, no doubt about it. They came from outside the 8 into the top 4, and saying that need to be stung by this result.
Thomas, hurried kick inside the forward 50. Bastanak outmaneuvered by Rampy. Rampy then claimed. Swallow wrenches the ball away from him. Tackled immediately by 2 Swans.
You can never take for granted getting into a preliminary final. You've got to make the most of your opportunities. They haven't. The last time they played in a preliminary was 7 years ago, so it's a lot of hard work to do to get back to one.
Gibson got it from Cunnington, sends it long down towards full forward. Petrie virtually mugged on the kickoff line.
On the line, so it's in the
free
square.
kick.
Straight in front. Mark's here. Clear it out, guys. 5 metres at the side.
Invariably, the umpires in the grand
5
final
metres.
will almost always come
Jared,
from the
1 metre
preliminary.
out,
A set of preliminary finals. Here's Petrie, puts it through, so the umpires still right on their mettle. Drew Petrie hasn't stopped trying. I was talking before about that 13 that Buddy got down in Launceston. And the thing that impressed me that day, not only was Franklin's 13 goals, but Drew Petrie came out and gave interviews. And I thought that was a mark of the man. He's an admirable character, is Drew Petrie. 123 to 62.
It's been a big career. It's actually snuck past John Dugdale in the all-time record of goal kickers for North in the last couple of quarters, Drew, so he moves up another run. So still over 60 points, and Sydney not far from their biggest score ever in any final, so still got the biggest margin they've ever had. One more goal would do that, so I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but you'd fancy their chances. Attlee to Harvey. Well, gee, Rowan and Attlee, that'd be a good race, wouldn't it? Rowan nearly got him down. Whirls. Attlee swinging it to Thomas. And then back he goes. Harvey quickly onto the boot. 400 games beckoning for him next year. Good kick by Zeeble. And Whirls stumbling and taking a fine mark within range.
Just to go back to Drew Petrie, he's hasn't had a great year. I think he's finished the year off quite well. He played reasonably well last week. He's tried hard all night tonight, so at least he can go in to next year's pre-season with that confidence, knowing that he's got another year in him, Tom.
He's kicked 9 goals in the finals, actually, so Whirls. And you say he hasn't had a good year, and I sort of agree. He's kicked 50 goals for the season, so it's a pretty good return.
Well, he's had games where I think he hasn't played well, but he's still kicked his 2 or 3 goals.
Yep.
And I think that was evidence even of that first final, where he didn't necessarily have a great game, but had a really good couple of moments within that game.
Certainly been one of the better Kangaroos tonight, that's for sure.
Lazy kick from Hanbury. Thomas, Bastanak, Petrie at his 4th. And he's missed. In the scheme of things, it matters not. McVeigh. Still 5 minutes to go, but when the guy comes on the PA and talks about crowd control, if you're North Melbourne, that ain't good.
They put up the crowd, Dennis, 48,029, so only the grand final of 96 has been a bigger crowd for these two teams, but this is the second biggest stage you can have. Good mark by Goldstein.
Stand there, Josh.
I think the AFL were thinking 46 for this match and 76 for tomorrow. So they're pretty close to the mark. I'll be happy with the 48, I think, in the end. And a boundary throw. And ironically, I think that is the capacity of the SCG, by the way. 48,000, yeah. So it's about the same number. 2 more years to go on the contract here for finals footy. And those, I think, 3 games each season. It has been a controversial stadium for footy. It's the 50th time we've had a match here. Cunnington, Thomas, McVeigh thrown down, Bird. Well done, Parker again to Jack. Running hard. Tip has to sit and wait. Uses Goods. Franklin down the line. Goods kicks the ball to Franklin and Thompson free kick.
Thanks, Franklin.
It's Farito, rather.
Yeah. He knew that if he didn't mark it and it got clear, he was off. So just had to hang on.
It was a rather reluctant
nowhere,
wasn't it?
So short to Goods.
It's been the good news story. I reckon this is the best I've seen Adam Goods look for this year. He's just ran really hard. I mean, he's supposed to look really athletic. You were thinking he's just been gradually fading, just hanging in there, but he's been good tonight.
He's playing his 25th final, so he's never kicked 4 goals in a final to date, so it might be a first at his 350. I think he's tugged it, but he's had a 350 to remember. I said earlier, the Australian of the Year is going to play in the match of the year. I mean, pretty good when you're the Australian of the Year and you're playing in a grand final at the MCG, eh? That's rare.
I don't think that's happened before.
White drives it to the other side. Hanbury, Bird, wriggles free. Parker, Rowan uses Hanbury as a decoy and sends it long down towards full forward. Tippett, uncontested. McDonald pleads his case. He was bumped out of it. And Tippett will line up from directly in front. Umpire says he marked it in the square. He almost landed in the square. Doesn't matter.
It tells a story. That's a tough night for the North Melbourne defenders. 26 inside 50 marks for the Sydney Swans.
It's a lot, isn't it?
So Kurt Tippett going at number 4. Slots it. So the margin now out to 66 points. Kurt Tippett started slowly, dropped a few marks. They weren't all that hard, but the longer it's gone, the better he's got. So this is a marvellous tune-up for Sydney and for guys like Tippett running into peak form at just the right time.
Just thinking aloud, I reckon Tippett has a hell of a lot of shots from the goal square. He's that sort of guy, I guess. He plays close to home, doesn't he?
Play close, play deep.
So this is the Swan, South Melbourne 79th final. It's their biggest score ever. 18 goals, 22. Their biggest margin ever in a final was 60 points, so they are charging in to another grand final. Bird, the sub, through the final. Gee, Jetta, he's got a poke in the eye, I think, and he's basically collapsed in front of our very eyes, so just really in some pain there, Jetta. So Lloyd has to stop and prop, still picking himself up, Jetta. Lloyd to the pocket, and Ferrito belts the ball over. He just stopped completely in his tracks there. I think he's just got a punch in the eye.
Just a finger straight in the eye.
Just beware, an injured player, I've got to cover it off. No, he's up, he's up.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a shock, I think so. Sort of getting his senses together now and his vision.
So it was a clever kick by Lloyd too, so close to the boundary. Got the result he was after. Young man turns 21 tomorrow. This is Zeeble, sweeping hand pass. Bastanak goes back to Zeeble. To the opposite pocket. On the stretch, it's taken by Wright. Loops a hand pass over the top. Now Attlee accelerates through the footy. One bounce, runs it up towards the wing. Oops, almost lost it. He bounces off McGlynn. No easy feet. Onto the right boot, but straight to Grundy. Grundy goes to McVeigh. Back comes Sydney. This is Bird. Up and about. Rowan. Jetta seems to be okay. Well, maybe didn't see it too well. Goes out of bounds. We'll have a throw in.
Say the forward line for the Swans this week is absolute understatement. We see the Jetta one here. I think he might have just got the finger right in the eye there. 19 contested marks for the Swans tonight. Season high.
Hi, Sydney!
Possible to see John Longmaker making a change unless Reed's injured. I mean, they'll go in again with an unchanged team, you think, wouldn't you?
They do that from qualifying final to grand finals always.
It's a bonus,
good story, absolutely.
I mean, not too often it happens, Lee. You normally get an injury through the finals with the intensity, but it looks like they're going to maybe shrug that off. Reed, perhaps a question mark.
Jude would know the answer. I reckon in 2005, so it rings the bell, they had 10 weeks or so without a change.
Just made one change in the last 8 weeks in 2005.
Yeah, stability is key at this time of year.
And Jude, you felt like it made a difference?
Oh, you just need a settled lineup. You just need that trust against each other the whole time.
Goods working hard after Kennedy. Right, Ferrito, back to Zeeble, just a bit of a fumble, close to the line. Kennedy and a boundary throw in. Richie Wright hurt himself too. Who knows what will happen tomorrow, but it's hard to imagine Sydney not being favoured to win the grand final after what we've seen tonight. It would take a stunning performance by Port Adelaide or Hawthorn tomorrow, you feel, to take the favouritism off them.
Goldstein rushes to the football, takes it cleanly, touched off the boot. Harvey heard the call. Del Santo, left half back towards the wing. Petrie off hands. Rowan missed it. Comes back to Petrie. Socket away by Rowan. Swallow got it to Cunnington. Del Santo, nifty sidestep to Thomas. Thomas goes looking for Brown. Couldn't hang on. Bird ran himself into a dead end. Dangerous hand pass. Went back to Turner. Hurried kick from Petrie. This could run on. It's bouncing towards the goal line. Getting back and covering it is Lloyd.
That's been a fantastic exhibition, isn't it? Hard running. Great tackling.
Was that not deliberate? It was not a play within 40 metres. He tapped that ball through.
What about that scoreline? 18-22 to 9-11. Exactly double the score in all respects tonight.
Haven't been as inaccurate. They've had 9 rush behind, so in fact it's not as inaccurate as it looks on the scoreboard.
Hanbury, Goods, couldn't quite. Farito, it's been manful. Goods' handball, clever. Gee, Parker, what a game. Hanbury, McVeigh, Shaw to half forward. Rowan just stretching too far. McGlynn battling. Rowan, well done, building it back to Cunningham. Some of those heroes tonight. And then Smith hooking back, and they're going to have one more shot to add to their record score ever in a final. So Sydney are about to go to a 4th grand final in 10 years. The 4 grand finals before this took 70 seasons. They're in a golden era, aren't they? In his 350th to his 4th grand final. Biggest winning margin ever in a final, biggest score ever. The Swans will be charging to the MCG next Saturday afternoon. Guys I'm going to go down to number 1 and 2 in terms of finals played for the club. Jude with 26. Goodsy will join him next week.
I'm here with Adam Goods. 350 games, milestone 351 in a grand final.
Yeah, mate, it's reminiscent of your 300 here, mate, in that preliminary final to get us into another granny in 2012. So, super effort by the boys tonight. Can't put anything wrong. North Melbourne really took it up to us. Exactly what we wanted, and into another granny, mate.
12 goals from the big fellas up front between yourself and Franklin and the other boys. Just working really well.
Yeah, it is. And if they're going to sit one back, we just got to be smart with the ball use. And when you got Tippo and Butt taking contested marks like that, it's really hard to defend.
And the midfield, I guess, guys like Luke Parker, the work of Harry Cunningham today was just superb.
Yeah, Harry did a super job, and he needs his teammates to help him out, and he's so disciplined to his role, and he played it up so well tonight.
Enjoy the week.
Thanks, Wes.
Well, a lot of respect there, a lot of games. The final margin, 71 points. Emphatic victory, sending Sydney into the grand final. They'll sit back and try and work out who they'll play beforehand and see the end result tomorrow evening. Rowan and Thomas, that's an interesting shake of the hands and conversation. Let's go back to Tim.
Here with Kurt Tibbett. And Kurt, what an emphatic result tonight.
Yeah, look, it's a great feeling to know we're going to be playing next week in the last game of the year. It's really exciting for the team, and yeah, hopefully we're at our best next week.
Your first grand final?
Yeah, very exciting. I'm looking forward to the build-up and hopefully being at my best.
And your own form, you dropped a couple of chest marks early, but after that, you looked like you were starting to clunk them.
It was a bit of a shaky start, and yeah, I kept fighting, and they sort of came a bit easier later on, so hopefully I've got those ones out of the way.
And you and Buddy and Goodsy and Reed moved really well amongst yourselves tonight too.
Yeah, look, it clicked tonight. Everyone was getting through, and the leading puns are really good, so we'll go away. We'll try and improve for one more week.
It was a big move, your move from Adelaide Crows to the Sydney Swans. It must feel like it was all worthwhile now.
Yeah, it was a big move at the time, and yeah, I love living in Sydney and playing at the footy club. I couldn't be prouder to represent the club, so it's been great.
Well done tonight, and good luck next weekend.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Good on you. So Kurt Tippett, one of 6 Swans to play a first grand final. Jude, not sure if you can hear me, but this is really emotional one for Benny McGlynn.
Yeah, we're down here with Ben McGlynn now. What are the feelings, I guess, after missing 2012, and we know what you went through there, into a grand final next week?
Yeah, it's been a great year. The boys done very well. All the hard work's paid off, and 2012 was disappointing, but we've cracked in all year, and I'm looking forward to next week.
And you've had some issues through this year as well with certain injuries. How's the body feeling?
Yeah, the body's great now. I've obviously had the 3 weeks off and pretty fresh, so full of run, and hopefully continue on next week. But little niggles here and there, but it's been good to have a few breaks throughout the year.
How well is this side playing? I guess this time last year, into a prelim final last year against Fremantle, the side was really banged up. How fresh is the side feeling now?
Yeah, real fresh. Obviously, we're fortunate enough that we could rest a few against Richmond late in the season, and Buddy's flying around now. Mike Pike's had another great game. The boys are pretty pumped. We've had a good couple of weeks of training, and we're looking forward to next week.
Mate, you need to loosen up. You're in a grand final. Enjoy the week.
I will, mate. I will.
You're watching Finals Footy on Fox post-game, brought to you by Wolf Blass.
So an emphatic 71-point preliminary final win to the Sydney Swans. A fantastic effort, beautifully coached by John Longmire, and the execution was clinical tonight as they march into another grand final. So well done to the Sydney Swans, a fantastic effort. North Melbourne, well, like so many teams in a final series, when they hit the wall, they hit it hard, and it comes to an abrupt halt. And we've seen that over the last few years in the Final 8 system, that teams particularly who get through without having the break really run into the big sides with a break and full of run, and they get clobbered. And that was the case for the Kangaroos tonight. For Sydney, that man, Kurt Tippett, and that man, Buddy Franklin, were absolutely sensational. Tippett kicked 4, Franklin kicked 4, and 3 of Tippett's goals came from passes that were lace out from Buddy Franklin. So Big Bud, going into the grand final, has kicked 4 goals himself and has had at least 3 direct assists. 5 to the Budster and 3 direct assists. It's not a bad a night's work at the office, is it?
Huge. One of the best feelings after a preliminary final, knowing you're in a grand final. And when you get to the recovery the next day, it's the only day you can actually enjoy in the whole week. Yep. Because it's that final bit of accomplishment. You're in the grand final. It's just such a good feeling in that moment.
Or if you've got an injury, you're trying to get the ice on and make sure you come right. Obviously, Sam Reid.
And what about this man here? 350 games. What an remarkable achievement to be the Australian of the Year going into a grand final.
Got 3 himself, Ed, too.
What's that?
He got 3 himself.
Kicked 3 himself, probably could add 4. He missed one at the end there. John Longmire, fantastic effort taking over from Paul Warus. And what a moment it is. That is a great moment, not only for Adam Goodes, but for football and for Indigenous Australia, to see him carried off the ground and heading to the MCG, not going at half rat power, but absolutely as a star tonight. And our congratulations go to Adam Goodes and everyone at the Sydney Swans. It's a remarkable team effort. Going back to Dick Collis, who I know is watching tonight. So, Richard, congratulations to you, and to Andrew Pridham, their president at the moment. Doesn't matter how you put them together, the rules are there for them to exploit. They've done that, so you don't worry about how they do it.
And you still need work rate, though.
They've done well, and it doesn't matter. Once you get out there, you're still going to get the ball.
You still need work rate, and talent clearly pays its own way, but these guys work so hard. They just turn up in the television screen time and time again. They outnumber, they get up the ground, they get back down the ground. It's just the way they attack the football is just sensational.
For me, I looked at it tonight and I thought they're just practicing to be perfect. This is what they're doing. They're building confidence with each other. They're tall forwards. They got trust in that area. They kicked 12 of the 19 goals. There's an enormous feel already about them. They walk into grand final day going, I think we're cherry ripe.
Well, that's right, and they're pretty much they got their best team out there. Their best 22 were there tonight. They had 27 marks inside their forward 50 to 9.
That's incredible.
It is amazing. And as we're talking about a guy that's played 350 games, and sure, he's not the Adam Goodes that we knew probably 100 games ago, but he's in such a dominant side that he can float forward, and someone's got to pick him up. If you give him half a second gap, he's going to kick goals on you. Superstar, very impressive team, and yeah, regardless, this is one of the most impressive teams of any sport in the country.
Yep.
We're the champs. We are top. 1, 2, 3.